recently, an extremely horrible thing happened to me. I was scammed out of an incredible amount of money. All of my nurse's pension. I was a nurse for 20 odd years, and I had my lump sum from my pension for about half an hour, and I was scammed out of £110,000. It's an enormous amount of money.
I've been at this game for a long time on computers. I'm pretty damn tech savvy, but I got busted too, honey. I didn't lose what you did, but
welcome to Season 5 of the Cannabis Truth Podcast. Your host is Honey Smith Walls, author of the new book, Healing Beyond High, Cannabis Truth, a gentle, practical guide for elders to learn cannabis fundamentals safely and effectively without overuse or overwhelm. In a world where the FDA has yet to stamp its approval on this ancient natural remedy, Honey Smith Walls bridges the gap between Western healthcare norms, uplifting benefits and relief through gentle cannabis plant therapies. Join this 21st century cannabis shaman, uniquely positioned to assess the green intentions of medical, farming, and business industries in cannabis and uncover fascinating historical, political, scientific, and spiritual facets of the plant.
Yeah. So fabulous that technology can bring us together like this. Oh, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I was looking at one of your videos online, and by the way, audience, Sarah is also in the Women's Spirit Collective that I've been doing recently, Sarah Grace, and we've met through this academy and this collective and have just been helping other women learn how to be a woman on this planet without so much pain and
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, both physically and emotionally. And that's what the Women's Spirit Collective is doing. We're a movement now, girl. Do you feel that?
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize how rewarding it is until I got into this collective to be a woman being vulnerable. You know, it's okay for me to talk about the things that hurt me in this space, because I know that I will find healing from just talking about it out loud and letting it resonate with other women who come back, give me support and say, honey, I've been there. I know how you're feeling, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Look at us. We've already successfully managed this area of our life, and you can too. And just having that support, oh my glory, you know, it's such an amazing...
We need it. We're all so isolated, aren't we? And especially when you're an entrepreneur, and you're it, like, I don't know about what your age is, honey, 21 probably, but yeah, I'm like in my late 50s now, and I don't know, it can be a very isolating time, which actually is one of the most empowering times of our lives, because we've got all these new possibilities. Suddenly all of that crap you've been carrying around with you for years about how you look and being nice to everybody and people pleasing, being that you and I think a lot of us come to a point where we're like, you know, I'm bloody sick of this. I'm done with it. And it's a time that if we embrace it, we can really step into our authenticity and be who we really are. And also I find, because I work with women who've experienced childhood trauma, and I find it's specifically incest and sexual abuse, I find that what you've been able to handle all of the years until now, suddenly you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. I've only got this much amount of life left, and I'm not going to spend it being behind a mask. And that's what I really find from the women that I work with and the spaces I operate in now. And I haven't got time for pretending anymore. It's like, get to the heart. If we're not going to get to the heart and talk, I really can't be bothered.
I love you saying that out loud. It's so important. And oh, by the way, I'm 70 and I feel exactly
Wow.
the same way you just said. I consider that I've only got 20, maybe 25 years at the most left on this planet. I have time for your bullshit. I don't want your bullshit. I don't need your bullshit. Get your fucking bullshit out of my life. And I learned a new word. It's called eject. And so I have been ejecting all of those relationships and incidents in my life that don't serve me. And this is why I'm so grateful to have these other women in that headspace, already been through this, telling me, come on, honey, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Get rid of that stuff. Get rid of the politics, get rid of the news that always leads off with a woman being raped or slashed or killed in some way. You know, get rid of the politics that you don't need to be involved in on a minute by minute basis in all of fear and frustration. Do your job, vote, but you don't have to carry all of that political baggage that can
it's disempowering. It's totally disempowering. I became a Reiki master many years ago, and I think so now I haven't watched the news, listened to the news, read newspapers for the last 30 years. And it for anybody's mental health, if you've got depression and anxiety, most important thing I would say to do is turn the telly off. Turn the telly off. Stop having that energy vampire in the corner of your room.
Energy vampire.
It
is. You said something, and I'm going to quote you. You don't produce endorphins when you're lonely. And I don't know anything else more lonely than living in your head, thinking that everything you think is true. It isn't.
No. It all comes through the blueprint of your past experiences. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping women heal from past trauma, because we've got these programs that are running in our head that were put there between the ages of conception and 7 or 8 years old. They're running your life, and it doesn't matter if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, it doesn't matter. They're still running your life. And all of the shitty things you are trying to deal with in your life and all the problems that you've got, they're coming from programs that were installed when you were just a sponge, when you didn't have any discernment. So what you were surrounded with as a child, you will be in subtle ways you haven't a clue that you're doing it. Your behavior, your reactions, your relationships are all totally influenced by that. And I think menopausal age is an age where you get the chance to go, hang on, is this my truth? Is this really my truth? Because I'm living my life for everybody else. I'm not. Who am I? Because I ask a lot of women, what do you want? What do you really want? And it's amazing how many women will say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because we've been everything for everybody else for so long, we don't know who we are anymore.
I have a hard time dreaming big. Because my world has been so small and so centered around my 90-year-old spouse for so many years, and that sort of thing. He's gone now, so I have total autonomy, and it's wonderful. I'm just saying, living as an autonomous woman is not something I've ever experienced before, and it's just amazing to be able to make my own decisions and care for myself in a way that's more meaningful.
It's like rediscovering you, isn't it?
Right. It totally is. I love that you help women this way. And I'm just discovering that women really are searching for your kind of help, for all kinds of help to help uplift them from what we've been But you're surviving on this planet. You all be quiet.
Yeah.
I've got all 5 of my puppies down
I
here.
pooch. Yeah. I'm surrounded behind my fancy backdrop. I've got about 3 cats.
Oh, and that is a fancy backdrop. I love
Isn't
it.
it?
Yeah.
Snappy, isn't it? Yeah. My husband, fourth husband, by the way, fourth time lucky, definitely. He's a mad inventor and an amazingly creative artist, and he creates beautiful things out of scrap metal. And so he's always putting mad inventions all over the house. And this backdrop is attached to a drill that I just have to press the button and then it zooms up when I don't want it down.
That is amazing. Does he do this, publicly? Does he have a website or something?
He has a Facebook page,
Tell
Reclam.
us.
Yeah, Reclam Arts is his Facebook page, and he sells a lot of stuff to America. Yeah,
You said Reclam Arts.
Reclam Arts. Yes.
Is that RECLAIM?
I'll have to spell it. My brain can't do spelling in my head. Reclam.
Because
RECLAMARTS.
okay,
Reclam Arts
good.
is his page.
Does that mean reclaim the art?
Reclaimed metal.
Okay, I'm just checking because our accents are a little bit different, and we put our accent on a different syllable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've probably got a bit of Spanish coming in there. Well, I've lived here for that long.
Yeah, right. But I love our ability to connect. It's just so beautiful that technology has afforded us, this ability, and I'm so grateful for it, because I wouldn't have been able to do this without iPhones and iPads and technology and the internet and all of that. You just couldn't do it. And so it's fantastic that I live in this age and
you've embraced it, honey, because a lot of people don't. They're like they don't want to do it, but you don't realize now, there's so much bad press about social media, and but then you find something like the Women's Spirit Collective and the groups, the way which me and my business partner Jess curate, and my groups, they're places where there really are very safe spaces where you can come and you can embrace that vulnerability that perhaps in your family life you're not able to do, because often the loneliest place that we live is in our relationship.
Sure is. I can really attest to that with my spouse. The last 10 years, I was alone in that relationship, and it was very, very painful. Loneliness is one of the worst feelings on the planet. I had it as a child, and I had it in a couple of my marriages, and that just meant that the communication had died, and that was that.
Yeah, and childhood trauma all plays into that, because I don't know how it was for you, but my history is that I was sexually abused between the ages of 4 and 18. And so I thought I was fine. I didn't know. I didn't think there was anything the matter with me. But it's only as my life has played out, I've seen all of the attachment issues, the insecurities, the not enoughness, recently. An extremely horrible thing happened to me on the 2nd of August this year. I was scammed out of an incredible amount of money, all of my nurse's pension. I was a nurse for 20 odd years, and I had my lump sum from my pension for about half an hour, and I was scammed out of £110,000. It's an enormous amount of money. And that in that moment, I thought I'd healed my childhood trauma. This is how it comes to get you. I didn't realize that what that scam did. I went into I just collapsed at that point when I realized that had happened. And in 3 days, after 3 days of feeling like I didn't want to be here, I didn't know how I was going to handle anything. I was so dysregulated, couldn't remember my name. It was absolutely horrible. This was after a lot of healing, a lot of work. I realized, hang on a minute, this is not really about this money. This is a rerun of when I was a child, because I was groomed. He built up my trust. I thought he was my friend and he was doing something good for me. Thought he was looking after me. And then he took everything, absolutely everything, by lying and like being somebody who he wasn't.
Right.
And what that enabled, this is kind of like, I say now, thank you, scammer. And I mean it, because what it did was that for me was the most expensive therapy session I've ever had in my life. And what it did was I was able to reach out, which so many people can't. You don't feel you have the right to reach out and ask because you don't really know what you're asking for. You just know something's not right. But I knew something really wasn't right in that point. And I reached out to one of my colleagues and asked her for some therapy. We did some EMDR, and it uncovered a childhood wound that was so deeply buried, I'd never been able to get it before. And it was that fundamental feeling of not being enough. I wasn't enough. So that's why I've been a workaholic all my life, why I had this craving to help everybody else, and why I could never stop, why I was always like the next course, the next course, the next course. I'm not enough. I still don't know enough. Who am I to sit here and say I can help you heal your childhood trauma? It all was revealed in this session. And I wouldn't have had that if that hideous event hadn't happened. Yes, the financial repercussions are awful, and I'm still dealing with that, but I'm here, I'm regulated again, I'm good. I've got, what I found was, I decided, it's this thing about vulnerability. I decided that after the first 3 days when I was not in a fit state for anything, I thought, what's the bit that's really, really hurting my heart here? And it was the shame. And I thought, you know what, Sarah, you know shame from when you were a child. And so what you weren't able to do as a child, you can do now. You can speak out about this. So I spoke out about it in some safe places, and the outpouring of love that came back to me. And I thought, you know what? That's currency. That's currency. That's the juju of life. Money, yeah, it's a game we play and you need a certain amount, but actually I'm still all right. We've still got a house. I've still, we can feed ourselves. We're okay. We'll get through. But the amount of love, honey, was incredible. So many messages from people I hardly knew saying, look, we're just here for you. I don't know what we can do, just feeling for you. And we think you're so brave for speaking out. So when the court case is done, there is a court case going in the air about this. When that's done, I'm going to go out and speak about this. And I'm going to speak with great vulnerability and explain to people, right, when somebody does this, these are the mistakes I made. This is where where most people won't tell you what they did because they feel such an idiot for having done it. Because it's really clear.
Yes.
I'm going to show them, right, when they say this, red flag, red flag, red flag, and be really, really honest with people in the hope that I can help them stop it before it gets as bad as it did with me. Because my childhood trauma, he wasn't dealing with 58-year-old, strong, empowered Sarah. He was dealing with 7-year-old little Sarah who did what had been told her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We really like an emotional pull.
We're emotional beings.
We're emotional beings.
Yeah, we are emotional beings, and everything plays out through our relationships. Yeah, absolutely.
Predators know that, and they appeal to us emotionally, and that's how they get us. I'm pretty damn tech savvy. I mean, seriously, I've been at this game for a long time on computers. I'm pretty damn tech savvy.
Yeah.
But I got busted too, honey. I didn't lose what you did. Yeah. But
well, hello, I'm Dr. Philip Blair, and I want to introduce you to Honey Smith Walls. And she recently had an experience with beta-caryophyllene.
For years, I've been dealing with lots of arthritis pain and pain from neuropathy that has not been resolved through other prescriptive methods. As an advocate educator in the cannabis industry, I learn lots of interesting information about the compounds within the plants, and one of those turned out to be beta-caryophyllene.
What was your first dose like?
I was gobsmacked. absolutely gobsmacked. It has given me my future back.
I want to get it out to everybody too. I want to get it out to the whole world. As a matter of fact, it has so many mitigating factors for all the stresses of life and pain and diseases. It is unbelievable the spectrum of care that it can provide.
I'm pretty damn tech savvy.
Yeah.
But I got busted too, honey. I didn't lose what you did, but I wouldn't tell the bank when I had to call and say, "Oh my God, I think something's happening." Huh? This happened. Yeah. I wouldn't tell them because I felt like such an idiot that I'd given over the information on the phone to the guy.
Yeah.
How did I do that? I knew better, but he just caught me at a moment. I believed him for a second, and that was all it took.
Absolutely.
1 second belief, and he got me.
Yeah. And anybody watching this who says, well, that wouldn't happen to me, I'm sorry, it might. I really hope it doesn't. I'm not a stupid woman. I'm an intelligent woman. I've done a lot of work on myself. I'm on the ball. I can spot a bullshitter at a mile off. Didn't spot him. It was orchestrated incredibly cleverly. And these people are now so clever that if they've got you in their sights, it's going to be very difficult for you to not be taken in because they know what to say. They're psychological experts and manipulators.
They're psychological experts and manipulators. That's it. They know. It sounds like they've been trained by the bank. Oh, I'm very sorry for your trouble, Mrs. Walls. Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you, Mrs. Walls. Oh, gee, here, I can fix this, Mrs. Walls. What's your what number, Mrs. Walls?
Yeah.
They get you.
Easy done. They do get you. They do get you. Mine was very elaborate, but a lot of the other ones aren't. But, don't ever feel stupid for having been scammed because you were the victim. And this is the thing that my beautiful sister-in-law Lizzie said to me was, Sarah, it wasn't your fault when you were a child, and this isn't your fault either. You're the victim.
Let me just breathe into that. It wasn't your fault as a child, and it wasn't your fault as a victim. And you were both times.
Exactly. Yeah.
By predators.
Yeah. And I'm turning it around now, so I'm not the victim, and I'm going to empower. I've empowered myself. And through my vulnerability and honesty, I'm going to be able to empower other people as well.
For sure. I wrote something else down. Thinking that you mentioned in one of your videos, thinking affects your ability to create healing compounds in your body, like serotonin, endorphins, and anandamide. Are you familiar with that particular compound, anandamide?
No, I'm not. No.
It's a compound that we naturally produce, and journalists called it the bliss gene.
Yes.
Runners get when they run, and they get a little high from all of that, accomplishment and all that. When you come off the stage, I know that I feel giddy and happy and excited. That anandamide coursing through my blood, the bliss gene. I'm really, really happy. But what you said was, instead, we produce harmful chemicals. We don't produce endorphins when we're lonely. That keeps coming back to me, that you said, don't produce happy chemicals when we're lonely. We produced sad chemicals.
Yeah, and we will hunt for dopamine.
And we will hunt
for the dopamine hit. You'll go on you'll scroll, you'll look for the likes on your social media. You'll go for the quick high of the caffeine or the booze or the drugs or whatever or for dangerous relationships, whatever is your poison, you'll go for that with the
dopamine. You will. And it's been part of our American culture, to go out and get drunk after work just to get rid of all of the stress from work. Not only the physical stress of 8 hours a day or 9 hours, whatever you're doing, But the emotional stress of having to work for perhaps a boss that isn't kind, or coworkers that are not kind, and just having to live in those kind of days, or even if they are kind, the stress of working, outside the home and all that goes along with it is hard on the body. And so when we don't take care of ourselves and don't address that stress properly, then our alternative is to, let's go out and get drunk. At least the alcohol will take all that stress away for a minute.
Yeah, we need to befriend that inner child within us. We need to reclaim those lost parts of us that were separated from us in our trauma, and in not just in huge trauma like I went through, but we have mini traumas throughout our lives as well. There's trauma with a big T, trauma with a small t. And if you are unable, if you're going through your life being a people pleaser, saying yes to everybody, and knowing in your heart you really wanted to say no because you're absolutely exhausted, but you can't say no because it's them, and you'll feel guilty if you do. If you keep doing that, then your body will say no at some point and you'll be ill.
I just had a woman call me before I got on with you, telling me all of this stuff about, you've been selected to be in this wonderful magazine and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to send you, we're going to do a full page story, and we're going to put you on our website. You're going to be involved in all this blah, 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 and la, la, la. And it's only going to cost you a couple of $1,000s. And I thanked her very much and said, no, I'm not able to at this time, a couple of $1,000s just for one promotion, and finances won't allow. Thank you very much. No, she came back with another offer, a little bit lower than that 2,000, for only $17.99. You can la, 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 la. Oh, thank you. Really kind of you, but no, blah, blah, blah. 5 more minutes of this going down, 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 down to finally $97, from $2,000 to $97. Thank you so much, but I still have to say no.
Yeah.
And she was perturbed at the, because now we've spent 15 minutes on this phone call, and none of her bailiwick moved me to say yes.
Yeah.
But I was so proud of myself, Sarah, for sticking to my guns, for reasoning it out logically, knowing what my own financial ability is,
and going with your heart.
Giving in.
Going with your heart. You knew from the beginning of that call you weren't aligned.
Yeah.
Your heart knew. Your heart knew, your gut knew. We've been so talked out of our own inner wisdom, because we're taught in this world that it's the mind that rules. It doesn't. The mind it's a fickle mistress. If you can pause and feel into your heart and your gut and ask them what they want for you, they know. They know. Up here, we'll talk you into and out of all sorts of things. I knew when that scammer was talking to me, I knew there was something awry, but I couldn't
identify it.
I was going with this. I wasn't going with my heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everything inside you was giving you little red flags.
Yeah.
And
but my brain was overriding it.
You couldn't see it. Yeah. You were overriding it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overriding it.
And our brains will override it. Yeah. Yeah. And that was the childhood trauma playing out that I thought I'd healed after donkey's years of all sorts of therapies.
We need healing from the time of birth, simply for that traumatic entrance into life.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside the womb.
Yeah.
My son battered on my pubic bone for almost 14 hours. His head looked like a football when he came out. And because of that battering, he had squashed his spinal column. He had some slip disc out of his neck. When first 7 days of his life, he screamed bloody murder with his fist, and he couldn't eliminate waste or pee or anything. You know what my sister did? She grabbed me up that 7th day morning and she said, come on, we're going to the doctor. And guess who she took me to? A chiropractor, a pediatric chiropractor, who manipulated my baby's spine, and boom, within, a couple of hours, that baby peed. And next day that baby pooped. Hadn't done that yet. And so, I'm sorry, I forgot where I was going with this, but being able to change your the way you think. I never would have considered taking my baby to a chiropractor. Didn't even know there was such a thing as a pediatric chiropractor. I would have taken him to a hospital. Emergency would have gone him in, thrown him into surgery. They would have opened him up and messed with his, all that stuff. My baby would have been God knows what by now. Now he's a 7-year-old, happy man with 4 kids and, home and a job and la, la, la.
Yeah. And none of us, that's what's so missing in the world is, and what groups like the Women's Spirit Collective with such a wide array of incredible speakers that have got so many different topics that they're talking about. We don't realize how much power we've got actually. If we knew a bit more information, like a lot of people don't realize that the childhood trauma is playing out in their adult lives by making them say yes when they want to say no. And they just think, well, no, that's just who I am. It's a quirk of my personality. No, it's not. You were conditioned that way. And you can really quite rapidly do something about that.
I used to tell women that those words in their mind that form sentences and then philosophies that you stick to can all be separated from the creature inside you. You can just put all of that stuff into like the washing machine and just put the lid down. You don't have to start it, just put the lid down. And then doesn't that give you room for space in your mind to think of other things? If you don't believe everything you think, you now have room to learn something new.
It's being open, isn't it? It's having it's having the confidence in yourself. It all comes back to self. Having the confidence in your own heart, in your own gut, to actually feel into, well, what's right for me? Just because that's right for Honey, that's right for Joanna, that's right for Kate. Is that actually right for me? It doesn't make the other thing wrong. It just means, no, actually for me, it feels a bit off. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, just feels a bit off. And we ignore that, don't we? Often.
We do. Because of women we've been taught to.
Yeah.
Be a good girl. Be a good girl. Do as you're told.
Yeah. Well, I am having the time of my life in this collective. I love what I've already learned, how to create my own really juicy soul talk, how to speak live. Even though I've been, on the podcast for all these years, I still wasn't over myself going live on Facebook. And that took courage, bravery, and confidence in my own knowledge that, what I have to, it's not about me. That's what got me over doing live stuff. It's not about me. It's the fact that women need my information.
Yes.
And once you get yourself out of the picture, it's
everything gets easier. It does.
Right.
Exactly. So if I'd listened to that, what I call my inner bitch in my head telling me you can't do that, can't, you're not healed enough, bro, then all of the 10s, 20s, 30s of women that I've helped wouldn't have had that. Right. Lives would have been lost, and they've told me that. And you think, goodness me, if I'd listened to her just a little bit more, I wouldn't have done that, and then they might not be here.
Yeah.
So whoever's listening, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Do it for them.
Keep doing it. I love this old Latin phrase, age quod agis. It means one foot in front of the other. And I say that often to myself, especially in, difficult times when you might want to give up. No, don't give up. Just keep at it. Just keep going. Something's going to break. Just keep at it. Just keep at it, because I know what I've got up here is really important for other people. No gender included, for other people and animals too. And that's the important part. That's the important part. I know what I've got is useful, valuable information that needs to be heard. Same for you. Women need to understand their vulnerability is as big as their hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a muscle you've got to practice. You've got to find the right place to start bringing in, being able to be a little bit vulnerable, knowing where's your safe place, who's safe to talk to, and then practicing and starting with the little bits. And it's a give and take thing. The best relationships in the world are created through vulnerability, because when my business partner Jess and I run our Evolve experience, we are purposefully very vulnerable at the beginning with our own personal stories to open the doors to others to be able to go, oh, okay, I can share a bit then. And that's what we do. And in all of our relationships, it's like that. You give a little bit, and then the other person has permission to be a little bit, and you kind of mirror each other. And gradually that grows into like some of the deepest, most beautiful connections you can have.
It
doesn't
really,
happen when you got your walls up.
right. Let's see, the Women's Spirit Festival is over now, but what are you doing next?
I'm running something called the Evolve Experience. So it's a 30-day neuroplasticity program with a 3-day retreat in the UK. And what we do is and also with EMDR for trauma resolution. So the participants. Say
what EMDR means for our audience, please.
Eye movement desensitization reprogramming. So what it does is we have all of these subconscious programs stuck in the back of our mind that are constantly plugged into our amygdala, into our alarm system, in our brain. And when anything happens in our life that even slightly reminds us of the traumatic incident or the painful incident, then the alarms all go off in our brain. And that puts us into states like depression, anxiety, fight, flight, freeze, dissociation, where don't feel connected with the world. We're like walking around in the world feeling that we're kind of observing it, not in it. I lived like that for a long time. And so what the EMDR does is that it unplugs that memory from the amygdala, from the reptilian brain alarm system, keeper alive, into the place where it can be processed by moving your eyes from side to side. So there's a process we go through, and you have those sessions 1-to-1, and that will sort out a lot of these subconscious programs that are making you do the things that you don't want to be doing now in your life. That will sort them out. And then we have a beautiful retreat where it's all about self-love, coming back into heart, practices around coming back to yourself, remembering your authentic self. So
do we have to be in Spain to do this, or do you do it online?
That's in the UK, but we are designing an online program at the moment.
Oh, that's great.
So audiences all over the world. And alongside that, I also have my own practice where I help women who have experienced childhood sexual abuse, childhood trauma, and it's a 12-week freedom program where I help them find their freedom again, and that's through hypnotherapy and EMDR over a course of 12 weeks.
Sarah, I don't know any woman that hasn't lived through child trauma or sexual trauma.
Nope.
I don't know. I have not been through that.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether they admit it or not.
It's massive, and it's a hard thing to talk about. I mean, like I said, referencing the shame, to be, to actually speak. You see people cringe when I tell them.
Yeah.
That
one of our business sisters, Virio, Kara, can't say her last name, sorry, but I adore her. She's teaching women to see their sexuality in a physical way, as part of their spiritual needs as a woman and their autonomy, because most, if not all, women give over their sexual power to the male.
Yeah. Have you interviewed Lorna Gale?
No, not yet, but
interview Lorna Gale. Lorna Gale is the most beautiful. She's a sexual somatic healer. And we did work for 2 years online because a lot of my issues were around sexuality, as you can imagine. And so she helped me understand consent understand owning my own body, understanding my power as a spiritual, sexual, sovereign woman. And she's going to be a beautiful lady for you to interview. Yeah.
Oh, that just sounds
gorgeous lady.
wonderful. Yeah. Thank you
wonderful
for telling my audience about her too, because again, all these women that we're meeting in this collective has been just outstanding. And you always want to be in the company of somebody smarter than you so that you can learn, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's how I feel about all of these amazing women. You know, I'm the only one who talks about cannabis at this point.
Yeah.
In the collective, there may have been one or two others before me, but as a whole, I'm sorry, there were like 200 guest speakers in the last event that we did, and I was the only one talking about cannabis as physical and mental, emotional relief. You know, but
or any sort of plant medicine, I think. I don't think anybody
any mushrooms and ayahuasca, and, you know, terpene therapy, which are, you know, compounds that we smell and taste in all foods.
And again, that ties in with what I do, because there's a lot now of trauma therapists are using psilocybin, are using microdosing of different sorts of psychedelic drugs in order to release trauma.
Help women become aware, because that shit is so deeply seated within us. It's very hard to even find the words to talk about it, much less heal over it. So plant therapy can help open you up, turn you introspective, give you forgiveness, give you tolerance.
Well, help you find it, I would say. It's not give you, it's in my experience of ayahuasca. I did a 5-night ayahuasca experience, and it was coming home, absolutely coming back to myself, coming back home, because ayahuasca, you are completely in your subconscious. Anything in your subconscious is gonna come out, and comes out every end.
I heard that. I heard that.
But the healing is incredible. Right. Not for the faint-hearted, though.
Right. So ayahuasca might not be in the cards for me at this age, not, you know, but mushrooms might.
Yes.
A little more gentle to the system than
absolutely. Mushrooms can be very healing.
Again, I would want a guided therapy of going through mushrooms, because it's quite psychedelic. And
absolutely. And you want the right dose, because, you know, microdosing is very, and it's the way you approach these things. You know, a lot of people will take mushrooms for recreation, but if you're approaching it as a spiritual experience, that's a very different process to you know, going out and picking them on the mushroom field and rolling around with your friends. You know, it's a very different experience. Well,
but that whole recreational thought is different than the healing.
Exactly. So, same thing, different intention, all about intention.
Right. And I just want to thank you for helping me reframe. When I said, you know, it gives you tolerance, you said it leads you to your own tolerance. Yes, Mama, that's what I'm talking about. Learning from others. And I absolutely want to reframe it always that way.
Because we're not broken. There's nothing needs healed. We just need the layers of shit taken off us that have hidden our own golden Buddhas underneath. And we've just had all that piled on us over the years. I believe healing is a process of removing those layers and coming back home, back to ourselves, back to our heart, and back to our authenticity.
Such important juju you're just talking about. Tell our audience how we can get in touch with you with a website and, you know, whatever else that we need to know about any of your workshops or sessions or anything.
So what I'll do, honey, is I'll send you a wee message with the details in, with my the best place to find me and know who I really am is if you look at my Facebook page, which is Sarah Grace, but I'll send you the link so that people can find it. And I have a website called Living Limitlessly. So that's www.livinglimitlessly.co.uk. That's my website.
.co.uk. livinglimitlessly.co.uk.
Yeah.
Just
And I'll send you
that
the
again. Also, Sarah is SARA.
H.
Right. Oh, it has an H.
Has an
My
H.
apologies. SARAH.
That's it. Yeah.
With
And
a
if anybody
grace
wants to, if anybody wants to
C.
email me, then they can email me at sarah@livinglimitlessly.co.uk. That's my email. And
Perfect.
yeah, so if anybody out there, if any of this has triggered anybody and they're thinking, ooh, yes, I went through that, but it's in the box and I've forgotten about it. If you want to have a chat, then I'm always open. I've got a link I can send you for a breakthrough call where we can have a chat about where you are and if anything I do can help you, or if there's anybody else I know who I think is more suited to help you. So
because that's what women do. We try to find help for
Yeah.
whatever the need is.
Yeah, you don't have to do this on your own anymore. When you were abused, it happened on your own in the dark and you were lonely and isolated, and you don't have to heal that way. You can heal with the love of others around you.
With the love of others around you. And we're here right at your fingertips, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I love you, honey. Thank you so much for this beautiful experience of being with you. I loved being on stage with you at the Women's Spirit Collective. We're going to be doing more of that jazz online in our own groups. You know, I'm going to start a group and start hosting. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I'm gonna start hosting events.
Stay in touch, honey. Stay in touch.
Yes, I will, darling. And you as well. So I'll see you on the socials, and everybody go visit Sarah Grace. Please.
Thank you.
She's just amazing. Mwah. Sending love to you. See you next time.
Thank you, honey. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to another Cannabis Truth podcast with 21st century cannabis shaman Honey Smith Walls. It is important to use verifiably safe products and look out for yourself while we're in this wild, wild west of cannabis right now. Ask for help. It can get complicated. If you need serious medical attention, please consult one of the specialists at cannabisclinicians.org. They will get you to the right person and therapy for your issues. Tune in here for weekly foundational knowledge and learn to determine the best choices and cannabis strategies for your issues. But please be advised that shamans are not doctors or scientists. You'll find those at cannabisclinicians.org. Unless otherwise proven by a reputable third-party lab test, please regard all street weed as contaminated. It may do grave harm to a patient with a delicate immune system who already has inflammatory issues like arthritis, IBS, fibromyalgia, or worse. Thank you for your time today.